Hi, I'm Bob Moncur and you're watching Newcastle Fans TV.
We've won people, absolutely fantastic. What a performance, what a defensive performance by Newcastle. We're going to be talking about them in a little bit in just a second. So we'll talk about the game, the lineups, a little bit of action, and we'll hear from Matt Ritchie and Jamal Lascelles in a second. We'll have a look at the league table as well, and we'll mention some outstanding performances. But let's crack on with it. So going into the game, we know that there was no Rafa Benitez, and a little bit of concern because if his presence wasn't there, how would the squad react? I think the coaching staff, the likes of Jimenez, Paco, Mikel Anasha, Simon Smith will all cope fine without Rafa because they'll know their roles. We're seeing it, of course, that Mikel was on the touchline all the way through the game, and Rafa was in his earpiece talking through it. So Rafa will be back home in the Wirral watching it on TV, constantly on the earpiece with him. The lineups in particular, we're going to hear from Elisha. We're going to hear from Will later on in the video as well, on the phone as well. Just getting Elisha's number up ready. So the lineups, let's talk you through it then. So there's quite a few surprises, and in particular on the bench, because you've seen the likes of Shelvey, Atsu, Gale, Lejeune, Yedlin, Diarmi and Woodman all on the bench. But Newcastle lined up as in, it was Rob Elliott in goal, then he had right back, it was Manquillo, left back was Jesus Gamas, in the two centre back positions you had Lascelles and Clark, and then you had Hayden in the middle alongside Mikel Moreno, and then you had Jacob Murphy surprisingly coming on the left flank, Matt Ritchie was on the right flank, and then he had Perez in the 10, and then you had Hoslu up top. But let's hear from Elisha what she thinks about it. Let's quickly ring her now, and this is what she thinks about it. I'm just ringing her now, so... Right, okay, so here we go. Right, so Elisha, stay on the line. So Elisha, what do you think about the lineup?
I was very surprised to see Games. Now, Games doesn't usually feature and hasn't. So I was very surprised to see him come straight back in. Obviously, Manquillo, probably the one in for Mbemba. We don't know how long he's going to be out injured for. Hopefully it's not too long. Also, I was quite surprised to see Murphy start from the off, because normally he comes on after half time. With the substitutions, I was surprised to see Atsu on the bench, and I was surprised not to see Lejeune in that starting lineup.
Thank you very much, I'll get back to you later. Right, so that was Elisha's thoughts on the lineup. So a little bit surprises here and there everywhere, wasn't there? So going into the game, first half, Swansea had a lot of the possession. It was something stupid like 65% possession. They were hitting our right flank deliberately because we knew we had defensive problems at left back. But I have to say, first off, Jesus Gamas coped with it really, really well. Newcastle sat deep, and we had that one major chance. Yes, I know we had a couple of chances with Jacob Murphy and Perez, but the big one was obviously the world-class save. After 30 minutes, Newcastle started to play, and what a save that is by Fabianski, pushing away Hoslu's header. World-class save, and I generally thought it was in. You'll see the match vlog, which I do. It should be out after this video. Fabulous save, and obviously Elliott was forced into a save, and Swansea had a lot of the possession in the first half, but they weren't really troubling Newcastle. It was pretty comfortable for Newcastle in particular. Jesus Gamas dealing with Renato Sanchez on that right flank pretty easily, I have to say. Going into half time, I did tweet that saying, look, this game's for the taking. Newcastle can go and nick this. And coming in the second half, Newcastle then starting to have a little bit more of the ball. However, the decisive moment is clearly the goal line clearance from Jamal Lascelles. He admitted in the interview, which you'll hear in a second, that it was his error. He was ball watching. Abraham rounds the goalkeeper, and there's Jamal Lascelles sprinting back to clear it off the line. Yes, it hits his chest and his arm, but you can't control that. Brilliant. And then obviously we'll go up and score the other end. An absolutely colossus leap, outstanding leap by Jamal Lascelles. I don't know where Swansea's defensive area is there. They're a little bit all over. Zonal marking perhaps. I don't know, Swans fans, if you're watching. And then Jamal Lascelles heads home. Newcastle then go on, hang on. Yes, there was a couple of other chances through Swansea, Newcastle, but they weren't really clear cut, and you know, we went on to hang on. An outstanding individual win by Newcastle. Rafa Benitez, although he's not there, didn't really make too much of a difference. Yes, he's in the earpiece of Mikel Anasha and he was directing it, but great win. What a win. What an outstanding win. Newcastle now move up to 10th in the league. You wouldn't have thought that. A couple of weeks ago it was all doom and gloom, myself included. I wasn't very happy after the Huddersfield defeat. But, you know, let's get some reaction from Matt Ritchie and Jamal Lascelles after the game.
For sure, yeah. They're the games you got to win. The aim's to stay in the league, and massive 3 points today.
Jamal, you got the header. Is it all about getting a run when it's zonal marking?
I mean, I said it before the game, they might zonal, and ideally I'd prefer to go against that. Obviously with Matt Ritchie's deliveries, you know, he's on the play every time, so it was just down to me to put it in the back of the net, and this game I did.
Was it easy to pick him out?
It's taken me a year to get him on the end of one, but no, delighted for him. We had a little bit of pop at each other yesterday in training about him. Delighted for the goal today. Means so much, and hopefully we can continue to win games.
Was your save off the line from Tammy Abrahams equal importantly as the goal?
I mean, yeah, it was, but to be fair, he shouldn't have even been in that position. You know, I got caught ball watching, and unfortunately, I made up for it. So, you know, but overall, great team performance. The lads, you know, dug deep, same mentality as the other week against West Ham, and you know, we've set the standard now. We need to keep that. So,
absolutely buzzing! What a performance by Jamal Lascelles. Speaking of performances, I'm going to quickly ring Will now. Dialing at the moment. Hi mate, yeah, just down the line. So Jamal Lascelles, absolutely outstanding. For me personally, he was man of the match as well. You've got Kieran Clark was really great. Here's a Scammers. What a performance by him. Coming in at left back, absolutely fabulous. Mikel Moreno going forward as well, nicking the ball, looked really, really good. Hoslu muscling his way in particular as well. Will, what's your thoughts on the individual performances?
For players that stood out, you can't look much further than Jamal Lascelles, obviously with the clearance off the line from Tammy Abraham and the goal. But also I want to give notable mention to Mikel Moreno. I thought he absolutely ran the midfield, was absolutely fantastic, hardly gave possession away, and was looking the Mikel Moreno that we're all hyping up about. I also want to give a really special mention to Jesus Gamez, who deputised at left back, with Chancellor Mbemba being out. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. And I hope that we use that as an option going forward, because he looks really, really assertive there, despite the fact it was his Premier League debut, don't forget, and he looked absolutely brilliant. So those would be the three that I would say. Also, one quick mention to Hoslu as well, who really is affirming his place as first choice striker. Cheers, Will. I'll message you on Twitter. Right, so that was Will's thoughts on there. Individually, yeah, absolutely fantastic. What a performance. I can't praise Newcastle enough. On the slight negative, there's two negatives. I didn't think Jacob Murphy had the greatest game in the world. I know he's tweeted our documentary, which Paul and Tom done, but not the greatest game. Matt Ritchie's high challenge, obviously the pundits are going to be talking about that the next day or two. Is it any difference to Marnie and so on and so on? I think, yeah, you've got to wait for it, because I think you only got the yellow card, so the referee seen it and booked him, as far as I remember. I might be in the toilet that time, but I'm sure he booked him. But that's the only two negatives in particular. I thought Murphy had the chance to come in, because obviously Atsu's been flying this season, but no Roland Aaron's on the bench, which is a bit surprising, mind you. But, you know, going into the next week's, we've obviously playing Stoke at home. You've got to ask yourself, can Gale get in that lineup? Can John Joe Shelby get in that lineup? You would think, can Les Yuen push out Lascelles and Clark? Because just on that performance, you wouldn't. DeAndre Yedlin, I think Yedlin's got the better chance out of everybody on the bench to probably start next week, because I still feel a little bit iffy on Manquillo, mind you. But what a win. Absolutely outstanding. Want to know what you think? Comment down there below. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.
We're raising money for the Bradley Lowry Foundation on October the 24th. We're walking from the Stadium of Light to St James's Park. If you can, please help this great cause by donating. The link is in the description.